RIOT FEST sucks. Kick it. Alright, just got back from day one of RIOT FEST. Excuse me while I finally eat some food. I don't know where the fillet of fish is caught, what ocean it's from, but damn, it's good. Let me know what you think about RIOT FEST in the comments below. Alright, we're going to summarize day one. We're going to get to that My Chemical Romance review. First, let's talk about RIOT FEST. RIOT FEST was formed. The idea, I think, was kicked around in 2005. I moved back to the Chicago area in 2008 and started seeing them shortly after. First sets were at a few Chicago area clubs. So you had like 4 or 5 clubs involved for like a long weekend of shows. A whole bunch of bands. I saw Alkaline Trio and Screechin' Weasel, I believe, played at Congress Theater. I saw the Dead Milkmen play the Metro, and it was really fun stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, hey, we're going to do an outside carnival festival thing. How are you going to do that? They pulled it off. It was in originally Humble Park, and there I saw some really great shows. I saw Mastodon, Slayer. One night there was like Jane's Addiction was really killing it. I think The Cure was on another stage. It was really cool. Rise Against, of course, Naked Raygun. A lot of great shows, Humble Park. And then a few years ago, they moved it over to Douglas Park because the people around Humble Park were like, hey, we really don't want this commotion in our area. And let's go to Douglas Park. So I believe for the last 7 years it's been at Douglas Park. And there I've seen some great shows. Last year, I got up to the barricade for Smashing Pumpkins. I've seen Smashing Pumpkins before. I first saw them in 93-ish, I think. But it was really cool. And I actually put on a great show. It was really cool to see them up front. I saw, you know, a lot of great shows at for the last few years. Again, you know, Slayer. They had 1 year, it was like heavy metal. It was like Anthrax, Testament, Slayer. Again, Alkaline Trio, Rise Against. You know, certain bands always seem to play every few years. And really, RIOT FEST isn't without its controversy. Controversial to move it from the clubs and put on a festival. A lot of people are pissed at that. They're like, hey, we need to be supporting these Chicago clubs, not have it in a big park. You know, we need to support the clubs, and that kind of music, that punk and that rock music is good in an evening nightclub, and it's good stuff. And why are you having corn dogs and Ferris wheels now with this kind of music? And then it was controversial, you know, to move it from out of Humble Park, so those people that want it, to Douglas Park. And now there's a big controversy this year, be the last year outside as a festival, because what it said, the people of that area, Douglas Park, just like Humble Park, don't want RIOT FEST around. Now, there's two sides to that, and I can understand both sides. One side is the people that live there. Yeah, it's got to be a pain in the butt. And it's currently not the only festival, so, you know, a few weekends in the summer, they have to deal with parking and people walking around and all that. And the music, you know, if you're trying to fall asleep and you can hear the music from outside. So I get it. You really don't want a big festival in this park. You choose to live by a park, but you didn't really want a big festival. And the other side of that is RIOT FEST and the organizers, I think, do a wonderful job. It's not some like corporate-y thing or some like Lollapalooza thing where you're not going to be able to talk to the people that put on the festival and care less. These guys really try to engage the community. They give free tickets away for people that live around the park. They now have tried to move on, you know, from punk and rock to all kinds of music. They'll have hip hop and pop music, trying to get all kinds of music there so people can feel more welcomed, I guess, you know, to go see all kinds of music. They do a cleanup because the place gets trash. If it rains, it really gets trash. But if it stays dry, it's still a lot of litter, and they do a good job of cleaning it up. They have incentives where if you help clean up a lot, then you can get a free ticket for next year. A lot of people from the community come out and they'll sell water to the people or sell tacos, hot dogs, so it's a good chance. Or they'll free up like parking spots where they live and charge people to park there. I think out of all festivals, they probably try the hardest to have the lowest impact bringing that many people into a park in the city of Chicago. They really try to engage the community and have people involved in it, and you know, they give the charities and local programs. Not a lot of festivals would even care to do that kind of stuff, but I do get it. I do get the people. Chicago has a history of, you know, you have this area, we have a problem of cleaning up areas too much, and the problem with that is, say you have a family, you know, they're just can afford the apartment, and a bunch of kids from the suburbs come in and move in, grow beards, like to drink craft beer, get all hipstery, and then all of a sudden the landlord's like, well, I don't want these apartments, I'm going to turn this into condos. And then they outprice the original people that live there. I would be pissed too, and it's happened in a few areas of Chicago. So yeah, if you live around this park, you can be like, oh great, here comes the hipsters, and they're going to raise everything up, and now, you know, like a catch-22. The crime may go down because areas are starting going up, which is a shame because everyone should be able to live in a crime-free area in Chicago, but let's get realistic. There's a lot of parts of Chicago that are riddled with crime, and really where this park isn't such a great area. And that's what I was kind of laughing, like when people were like, we can't use our park. If you drive around that park other times of the year, yeah, people are walking through it and getting use out of the park, but it's not like there's like swans in the lake and flower patches everywhere and stuff. It's pretty rough sometimes, you know, with the drugs and the crime, you know, shootings everywhere in Chicago now, but you know, shootings in certain areas that are a little more concentrated. It's not the worst area of Chicago by far, but it's a rough area. So I can get the feeling of like both sides, like, hey, you should be glad people want to come to this park and like spend and all that, and the other side going, we don't want you in our park. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it takes for you to do Riot Fest, I hope the people get happy. I hope the community gets happy, and something tells me it's probably just going to end up where Riot Fest has to pull out and just go back to where it originally was, supporting all the clubs and stuff, which will be smaller because, you know, it won't draw as many people, but I don't know. And for those of you that don't know, Riot Fest is like kind of like Lollapalooza with more of a punk edge and a little older people, but it really is really growing to get all kinds of music and all kinds of people there. So unfortunately today, to help out the areas, everyone should take public transportation. The Metro trains weren't running good on a Friday schedule at all from that area, so I did have to drive. Live about 20 minutes away on Ogden, so just jumped on Ogden, went 20 minutes east and found good parking. Again, try to take public transportation. People want to park in front of their apartments. They don't want your car in front of there, and then you go walking to Riot Fest. But I did do the thing, not saying that all cars would get broken into, but you know, you leave a little bit of trash. You leave a Taco Bell bag on your dashboard because no one wants to break in a car that smells like Taco Bell. That's a good tip for you if you're going to park your car in a rough area. So I got there around 2 o'clock, did my little walk around, you know, checked out the overpriced food. Went to Fat Records, checked out some of the records there. Unfortunately, by the time I got back, they'd already sold the ones that I wanted. And just, you know, kind of got a lay of the land kind of a thing. It's been a whole year since I've been to Riot Fest. So first band up was 3 o'clock. I saw Lagwagon. They are California fat type punk sound. Fat Records, no effects and all that. To me, a lot of that just sounds the same, like No Use for a Name, Strung Out, Lagwagon. They just all kind of know. I don't know. It's good, but it gets monotonous, I want to say. So in that true spirit, I stuck around for a few songs and I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't not like them, and I don't not like that sound. In fact, I love NoFX. I like more of their albums than I don't like some of their albums. But yeah, just after a while I was like, whatever. They've been around forever, so it's good for them to still be around. Sparta is a band from El Paso, band I never heard of until this year's Riot Fest. So that's a good thing about Riot Fest. It always exposes me to new bands. And then I get to expose myself to those bands. Wait, what? There's Morrissey. Saw him at Riot Fest twice. Don't eat meat. That's my Morrissey impression. El Paso Rock and Roll. They have like, I don't know, 5 albums out or so. I like them. I like them enough. Maybe I'll check out an album or something. Every year I find like one band that blows me away. Was it Sparta? No, but I'm sure I'll find that band. After them, I checked out Rocket from the Crypt. The singer John has a long history of a Drive with Jehu, then more recently Hot Snakes. All great, just balls out rock and roll bands. Rocket from the Crypt, way back when, 95, 96-ish, had that On a Rope song. Man, when I DJ'd at Clubfoot in Chicago, there were certain songs you knew people were going to start shaking. On a Rope from Rocket from the Crypt was one of those ones as soon as you start playing, oh yeah. So let's watch them play a little bit. And they're one of the bands that did a full album. At Riot Fest, some bands will do full albums. They've been doing that for years. So this year they had Rock from the Crypt, and they did Group Sounds. I wasn't familiar with that record, but they pulled me into it. I really liked it, and I'm going to purchase it, probably used CD on eBay. And that's a sign of a good band, is that they kind of pull you in. You're like, oh, I want more from them. I've always known about them, and I've always skipped on seeing them play live. They've played in Chicago for 20-some years on and off. They always come through here. And I just never saw them live. But now I finally saw Rock from the Crypt, and I really liked them. After that, I walked on over to the Descendants. I've seen them 3 or 4 times now, and every time I've seen them, it has been at Riot Fest. Descendants are like a punk band from California, formed in like the 1800s. They've been around forever. They have 1 million albums. That's the band that went from Descendants to All, and then kind of back to Descendants. Lead singer Milo, they have a really good punk rock thing. I'll throw it on here. Image of Milo. Next to the Misfits, we're going to see tomorrow, that's probably like one of the most like punk, and people see that, they're like, oh yeah, punk. So it's out of Descendants. They're always fun. They're getting up there on age, but can't even tell. They're great musicians, you know, and they're always a good show. They have such great songs. Let's check out a little bit of Descendants. After Descendants, I wrote down to check out the Wonder Years, power pop punk from, I think, Pennsylvania. They formed around 2005. Now, for me, all the pop punk bands, you know, Green Day, 91, 92, leading up to their big, you know, explosion in 94 and 95. That, to me, was the pop punk time around that. So the bands that are formed after the, you know, early O's have a harder time with me because I've already heard so much good pop punk that it really has to be good to draw me in. Not saying that it was a bad band, it just wasn't enough to really keep me around that much. Just watched a few of their songs, and then I walked around and realized the food lines were getting astronomical. Huge. At least allow yourself an hour. At least start standing in line an hour before you decide what you want, which of the overpriced items you want, because it's nuts. So I walked around a little bit, went to the Rebel stage, which is the furthest stage. It's always a nice area. That's where you get water refills, and the porta potties. You know, you can kind of find a good open, clean one that's not overused in that area. So I chilled out for a little bit, relaxed a little bit, watched Cloud Nothings, band I never heard of. They're from Cleveland. They were formed in 2009, and they have like 9 albums. It's nuts. I've never heard of this band. And I watched them, and I liked them. I took them as like this young, angry 3-piece. I like 3 pieces. But just angry, screamy rock, but then they had some soft stuff. And then back with the screamy, and then back with the soft stuff. So it was good stuff. After that, I walked all the way over. I wanted to see the Bleachers. I believe the guitar player, Jason, I think that's his name, Jason. He was in Fun. I saw Fun at the Taste of Chicago years ago and had ultra fun. That's cheesy to say that, but I did. So I saw the Bleachers perform on Saturday Night Live earlier this year, and I thought they just did a great job. Great stuff. So I know he's got a good pop sensibility. He's got a good pop rock mind. Eager to see them. They're having some kind of technical problems because they didn't start on time, and I was like, I gotta start getting over to My Chemical Romance. There's like a sea of people. So, sorry Bleachers, I'm sure I'll check you guys out on YouTube. So I went around, saw Alkaline Trio. Watch this channel, you know my history with Alkaline Trio. I was there when they formed. I knew Matt Skiba before he was in Alkaline Trio. And then they formed Alkaline Trio. I was in a band, and we got to play shows with them. We did a weekend tour of Wisconsin with them. And I just watched that band, Alkaline Trio, explode. It seems like every show they played, they got more popular and more popular and more popular. And then the Warped Tour came around, and they just started doing Warped Tour, and they just, so it always blows my mind that Alkaline Trio plays in front of a sea of people at Riot Fest, because I still see them as that young-ish band, you know, playing a club, but good for that, man. They have 9 albums out, And I think I own 8. I think there's 1 or 2 that I need to get. But I always like them. They're really solid. I wouldn't say this was my favorite performance of Alkaline Trio. Like, again, seeing them and playing with them in small clubs, that's always going to be my favorite because that's such a good time. But I have seen them play Riot Fest before, and I liked other performances. It seemed a little dry tonight. I mean, the crowd loved it. How would I describe it? I wouldn't say lackluster performance, because that's kind of harsh. Just, it's good. But I've seen great Alkaline Trio shows, so this was just a good one. Weaseled my way in as far as I could for you, the viewer, to try to get some good My Chemical Romance footage, and it was not happening. I'm not one of these people that will keep pushing. There were like people pushing and beside me and push. I'll just kind of walk until I find a good spot, and I did, and I kept going up because people were dropping like flies before the group even started because they were just getting too hot. So people kept flushing out of the crowd, and the crowd just kept moving in, and I realized I was a good, half football field away from the stage, and a good 2 more football fields behind me. It was one of the largest, if not the largest crowd I've ever been in. It's not the roughest crowd, because I've seen some pretty hardcore punk shows and been pushed around and shoved to the ground and all that kind of stuff, The crowd at Riot Fest, you got your crowd surfers and your little pits, but I never see it to be that brutal, Us old punkers, we've seen a lot. So we've seen brutal, and it's just, so it's good. If you're ever on the fence, it's like, go to Riot Fest, it's kind of a scary name, and I heard people mosh. It's not that bad. An old guy like me can still walk around, no problem. So they started, and immediately after the first song, I think their first song was their newest song that they put up on their website. They played 17 songs and all, but after every song, it was not annoying because I get it. You don't have people been killed at concerts because the crowd is too big and people push. Absolutely. It's been happening since the 70s. No one wants to be killed at Riot Fest. The group on stage really doesn't want that on them either. I think because it has happened, that it's in the group's mind that we got to control this crowd. And it's something. When you're on stage, look out and see it. People, I'm sure it's got to be crazy. So I get the fact that they had to stop after every song to tell people to step back and relax. If anyone needs help, let them know. But it did not kill the show, but it really hurt the momentum of the show to stop after every song. I get it. I get why they did it. It just, and another thing that killed it for me was the crowd around me was so loud. And it's great. You're supposed to scream. You're supposed to shout. I just wish a lot of them would have turned to their friend and said, what if I sing along? This is what I'm going to sing. And then their friend, being respectful and truthful to them, would have said, you're off key.
He said,
also, when you're a crowd and you scream, it was like equal dudes to girls and people who weren't willing to, say who they are, whatever. So, how do I phrase this? Oh, it's such a crazy world now. Female voices were equal as male voices, but always in crowds, the higher voice will always drown out the male voice. It's in sporting events. Anytime you get a big bunch of people, the female voice always seems to drown out. So you had all these, it's almost like teenagers. So, but I looked around, the average age is probably mid-20s at this show, which is weird because Gerard Way, he's 45, so it's not like this group is young. But they still draw that young crowd. So it was being drawn out, all the lyrics by this crowd. It was just, so I can hardly hear the band because people are just singing off key all around me, which is fine. I saw My Chemical Romance play with Alkaline Trio, a small place in Florida. I saw them play the hockey arena in Florida with Muse. Muse is the band that, what happened to them? I love the Muse. If I ever do a video about bands, what the happened, Muse would be one of them. Muse didn't play Riot Fest. Why are you talking about the Muse? Just let me talk about the Muse a little bit. Absolution, that's the one I was thinking of. This is perfect. Muse Absolution is wonderful. Black Holes, Revelations, wonderful. And then they just went to crap. They went to crap. The albums, there's like 1 or 2 albums after this that I like, but then after that, Muse, what happened? I digress. So I saw Muse open up for My Chemical Romance on the Black Parade tour. And I haven't seen it. You know, they broke up in 2013, and then they reformed. A few years ago, they were going to do a tour, postpone it because of COVID. Whole world shut down. We reopened 2022 September. Here we are, My Chemical Romance, Riot Fest. Boom! Too many people. We got to stop after every song. I don't know. 17 songs. From what I could hear, beyond the off-key crowd, they were playing really great. They did a good amount of songs from each album, and it was a really good concert. And since this is a vinyl channel, let's get some vinyl out of here. You know, if you always want to know what a band plays, Google the band's name and then put concert list FM, and people put concert set lists up. So it's kind of a spoiler if you're seeing a band on tour and you really don't want to know what they play, then don't look at it, because people will put the exact set list that the band is playing. So I bought you bullets. I brought you my bullets. You brought me your love. This is their first record. Of course, My Chemical Romance is a band from Jersey. They formed, I don't know, 0001, sometime around there. They played a few songs for us. Come on, Rob Halford. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. This is when the band came onto my radar. I was living in Florida at the time, 03, 04. And I thought, holy cow, this is some catchy stuff. They were playing 04. They were playing I'm Not Okay, I Promise. Man, that song's got hook. You know, a lot of my friends like, why do you like My Chemical Romance? They suck. No, they're awesome. They have hooks galore. I like how the band sounds. I like the poppiness in them. It's a little bit of punk, but a lot of pop rock. It's just good stuff. Helena, what a song. Talk about a hook on that one. Come on. These guys are good, man. I love it. So they did a few songs that. They did Helena. I knew they were doing Helena right away. Again, I have those skills. I have the skills to know what songs the band's going to play when they start just introing into the song. I'm good like that. Black Parade. This is a good album. I believe it's a concept album. It's probably my favorite concept album. What do you have? Like The Who, Tommy, Pink Floyd, The Wall. And they have Green Day, American Idiot. Then boom, My Chemical Romance, Black Parade. This is a great record. I saw them on this tour, and the group just exploded at this point. And really, they got so big that you know the only way is kind of to go down a little bit. Can't hold that. But they played Black Parade. They played Teenagers. They played Cancer. That's what they closed the show with. They had a lot of great songs on Black Parade. The Danger Days. This is this album. I don't have the vinyl, but this is the CD after Black Parade. This is kind of what they ended their career with. They did release songs after this, but those are kind of hard to find. But they played a few songs off of this. Na 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 song. That's a good one. That grows on me a little bit. I didn't like it as much. I mean, the other two, you know, 3 Cheers and Black Parade are so damn good. It's just hard to. And Gerard Way put out this. I have the vinyl of this. This is hard to get. I think they reissued this, but this is the original press. Yeah, eat your heart out, folks. Original press. I think there's 2 covers of this one. But anyway, back to the band. So they did good, and like I said, I get the fact you got to stop after every song because you don't want people going crazy. And people were kind of smushing, and I'm sure I wasn't close enough to the front to see the front rail, but I'm sure they were pulling people out. I've been at other shows that they're constantly pulling people out because they're getting dehydrated and overheated and all that. So it was good. Just, you know, the sound, I wish it was louder to kind of overpower the people around me. The group, from what I heard, again, Gerard sounds awesome. He's got good voice sometimes in concert. If you watch YouTube videos, he can be off or on. Recently, he's been a lot more on than off. Also, how cool is the Umbrella Academy on Netflix? He writes that. The guy's a creative guy. So it was all in all a great day for day 1 at Riot Fest. Hope you liked this video. Hope you made it all the way through. And tomorrow's kind of like the punk day at Riot Fest. So I got to go upstairs, get a few hours of sleep, and then ready for punk day. Day 2 Riot Fest. Riot Fest sucks.